Hello, Pisces, and welcome to your new moon in Capricorn reading. So, the new moon is happening on the 18th of January, and it is happening at 28 degrees of Capricorn. So, we are really closing out. I know if you've paid attention for or been, really paying attention to the new moons that have been happening over the course of the last several months. You'll notice a lot of them are happening in the later degrees of the sign, which is talking about closing out old ways of utilizing that energy or some of the old energies in regards to whatever area that is. For Capricorn, it talks about, our status, reputations, careers. It talks about things such as things we've been bound to, or, really, yeah, I'm feeling the word tethered to that may not have been for our greater good. It also talks about structures and organizations, groups, that sort of thing. So there is this shift and change of what was going into what is meant to be. And again, it's talking about a different frequency. We can clearly see just by paying attention to things that are happening around the world that you're seeing a lot of things falling when it comes to groups, organizations, um, things like that. Government is included in this as well, where you're seeing a lot of that taking place. And it is meant to be to pave the way towards a more authentic, a more genuine, a more sincere, a more humane way of being, right? We are all here on a mission to create heaven on earth, and we can be part of the problem or we can be part of the solution. And it is always a choice utilizing that free will that we are all gifted to what you choose to do with that. So, anyhow, I'm going to keep moving and we are going to see what is showing up for the sign of Pisces for this new moon energy. Please take what resonates, release what doesn't. And don't forget to leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you. So the first card that shows up is the Hanged Man. This talks about hanging in limbo, being in limbo, going through some sort of enlightenment. I feel there is this time frame or this period right now where a lot of people, but I'm reading for Pisces specifically, this can be your sun, moon, rising, Venus, or Mercury. If you have placements in the sign of Capricorn, especially if they are located within a I'd say 5 degrees of that Capricorn new moon at 28 degrees, pay attention to that. But I feel like this is an enlightenment. I feel like something that has been stuck, stagnant, hanging in limbo has given someone the opportunity to see things from a different light, to change course, to recognize something that maybe they've been connected to, tethered to, bound to in some way, shape, or form that may not be for a greater good, right? We all have the opportunity at each and every moment to change the course and direction of our life, right? And I feel like this is somebody waking up, going through some sort of an awakening. Maybe things have been stuck, stagnant, not moving forward. I feel like this is part of seeing things differently, more going through this awakening to elevate to a higher vibrational frequency. For some of you, it could have been where things have been stuck, stagnant, and you're going through an awakening, recognizing what you are tethered or connected to, that may not be for your greater good or for the good of all involved, and having to go have this aha moment in regards to that. The next card that shows up is the Two of Air, and this card talks about being at a crossroads. This card talks about having to make a choice or a decision, maybe feeling very stuck within this choice or decision and not necessarily knowing the choice or decision to make. I kind of feel like that Hanged Man sitting next to it is indicating a time of taking time out, taking a step back, assessing the situation, really getting honest with oneself in regards to what is working, what is not, what you're holding on to that is not for your greater good or bringing you forward into the evolution of more, I feel, higher vibrational frequencies, right? So let's keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's see what other energy is showing up, what other energies for the sign of Pisces. Talking about this next card that shows up is the Eight of Air. So, I mean, I really couldn't have handpicked these cards any better to um, display what I feel, or to bring forth the what I'm feeling with this energy. The Eight of Swords talks about feeling stuck, trapped, bound. You see this angel who's rising above the chaos, the confusion, the illusion, the distortion, right? Major things happening in your life right now, Pisces, with Saturn at the end degrees of your sign, right around this very new moon that is taking place. So is Neptune, right? Both Neptune and Saturn are getting ready to go in Aries. And when that happens, it is going to be a major shift and a major change, forcing, whether willingly or not, it's like forcing reality, right? Forcing transparency, forcing enlightenment into an area where maybe you have been stuck. And I'm just going to put this out there. So, from what I would feel for a low vibrational Pisces who has really utilized their ruling planet Neptune to cause confusion, illusion, distortion. This could be really you getting caught up in a situation, or getting caught up for that manipulation tactic or that way of doing things, and being forced into a transformation to get right? Like to get in alignment with the higher vibrational frequency, or be stuck in a pattern of not such a good energy. For you Pisces on the higher vibrational frequency of this would indicate to me that you are at a very pivotal point of making a choice and a decision to free yourself. To the hangman has to free themselves through enlightenment, to free yourself from maybe things you believe that are no longer, that they don't resonate with you, or that are not true, or that are keeping you stuck, trapped, and bound. It's like rising above this energy, using that Neptunian energy, right? That's heading into the sign of Aries to navigate a new way forward through creativity, through thinking outside the box, through doing what's right, fair, and just. Bottom of the deck, I am seeing the Lover's card, which is another indication of a choice. Like, we all have the free will. We can choose right, wrong. We can choose bad or good. We can choose light or dark. We all have that free will. We are all free to choose. We are never free from the consequences of our choices. So, very big energy showing up right here. I typically, well, I don't typically, I do it all the time. Every time I'm sitting down to do a reading, it is my intent that I am speaking or connecting with higher vibrational frequencies, people who are out here trying to do the right thing, even when the right thing may seem, because of external things that happen, or things like that, they may feel like, like, does good really prevail, right? And I would absolutely answer yes. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, it doesn't mean it's going to be a walk in the park, but it does mean that staying in vibration with that higher vibration versus stooping to that lower vibration will bring forth that gift in the future, right? And I feel it, when had a conversation this morning, and we were talking about, the hardships or the challenges in life. And it's like, these things not only build strength, but they build character, right? Will you stoop to low levels just to get overcome a hardship, a challenge, whatever it may be? Or will you weather the storm and reap the greatest reward on the other side of it? whoever I'm reading for has stood the test of time. They've persevered, and there is that new beginning. This is the Ace of Earth, and I do feel this new beginning is part of what is going to be taking place, transforming, and happening during with this shift from Neptune out of Pisces into the sign of Aries, where somebody is going to really be nurturing, growing, evolving things in a different way. I feel taking the higher ground. I feel rising above all the chaos, the confusion, the distorted energy, no longer believing in the fairy tales or the wishful thinking kind of energies. I feel like they're rising above and liberating, freeing themselves from the confusion, the distorted energy, the manipulative ways, that sort of energy. There's the King of Fire right there. I feel like someone has recognized, or they are recognizing and realizing, the benefits, the promise of, of reward for great work. And I feel like that great work is doing things with integrity, authenticity. It is the wave of the future, and not everybody's going to get in alignment with it because they've spent an entire lifetime thinking they could get away with manipulation, deception, chaos, confusion, that sort of thing. But I just have this vibe that tells me that that's not going to be the way it works out. I feel like, I've said this many, many times, where I feel like there's a lot of people who are meant to be put in positions of power who could, who would do the right thing, right? Like some people get put in a position of power, go on a power trip, trying to get ahead, or ultimately feel like they're better than others or more powerful than others. They've utilized ways of achieving and accomplishing what they've wanted to accomplish that were not ethical, honest, were not done out of integrity. They were done from a different vibration. Like power tripping is the energy I'm feeling, and you're seeing that change now. And there's a lot of Pisces who have been out there, doing the right things and waiting and wondering, is doing the right thing going to bring forth what I desire, my wish fulfillment, my dream come true? And I would absolutely say, ooh, and I'm doubling down on that. I would absolutely say that yes, it's here for you. This new age, this new way, this Aquarian energy is really going to be beneficial for you. And you're really needed. You would not be here today if you weren't needed for something. We are, like I said, we are all here to create heaven on earth. And with great power comes great responsibility. And there are people who get in that position of power. They say they're going to change the world, but what do they do, right? Does power take over, their soul, their being? Do they still stand 10 toes down? This is talking about true leadership. When we see the emperor show up right here, this is that energy of Aries, right? This is an Aries energy. It's a major arcana card, which in its clarifying a major arcana card. So there has been somebody who has been really going through some sort of awakening and enlightenment. And I feel like they're breaking out of their shell, like they're stepping into their power, they're taking control, they're having structure and discipline. They're going to be a true leader that is going to come forth and replace these wannabe leaders, right? And I say that because there are a lot of people who get into leadership roles that are really not true leaders, right? They're materialistic, they're clout hungry, they're greedy. I could go on and on and on. And unfortunately, we've had too many of them put in positions of power. Again, this can be within groups, this can be within your friends, your family, that sort of thing, where people have taken their title, their role, their position as a leader and used it for not good things. And you're going to be seeing a change of the guard. And bottom of the deck is the Wheel of Fortune. That's Jupiter energy. That is sitting in the sign of Cancer right now. So let's talk about that for a second, because when we talk about the sign of Cancer, we talk about the home, family, foundation, place you feel safe, secured, nurtured, and loved. Cancer also indicates our homeland. It talks about and regardless of where you are in the world, your homeland, right? Um, your country, your city, your state, your town, whatever it may be, we know there is just so much chaos, corruption, so many negative things that are really I feel showing up to be seen, and ultimately enlightening people, bringing people through an awakening to really step into their power. To the power belongs to the people. But a lot of people just have a weak spirit. They have no drive. They have no ambition. They have no desire to make a difference. They're too busy, focused, and worried about what people will think if they go against the grain or if they stand up to tyranny or things like that. And I don't feel many people are going to be sitting in that anymore. Yes, I do feel like there will be a lot of people who will, but I feel like the majority of people are like, we're done, And a lot of times it's unfortunate, but it's because it takes something happening to them before they have the empathy to feel what it was like for someone else to have undergone gone something like that. And I'm just, it is what it is. I'm seeing what I'm seeing. I'm going to shuffle the deck, and the first card I see is the Fool card, right? This is taking a leap of faith. This is moving forward. This is embarking on a new path. This is an entirely fresh start. And that's where we are all going, into a new way, and the leaders, there's going to be big changes when it comes to leadership. The leaders that were not real leaders, they were wannabe leaders, are going to be, like, I feel pulled out of positions and replaced with true leadership, because that is what is being called on right now in order to restore balance. Another major arcana card. This is the Temperance Angel, bottom of the deck, another major arcana card with the High Priestess. You're going to see a lot more people using their discernment. We've talked about this over years, and again, I know if you're new to this or watching me on this channel, I used to be on a different platform, and I really used to do a lot of live readings. All my readings on there were live readings where I was really putting out there what I see coming through for the future. And so to see everything that's happening now is no surprise or shock to me. But I do feel during that time I was really talking to people about really recognizing, fact from fiction, using that discernment, trusting their intuition, and strengthening that gift, right? In order to move forward, because I did feel, and you can go back and watch. I call it Fake Book. I know that's not the name of it, but that's the platform that I was on for a lot of years, doing all the lives. You can go back to specific dates if like that, what was going on back then or what was happening back then. You question time frames, things like that. You can go back and look at the messages I was bringing, and hopefully you can see where that fits in today. And so I do feel like whoever I'm talking to, like, you are someone who is meant to be part of this movement going forward, where you're about bringing peace, balance, harmony, structure, discipline, accountability to the forefront. Like, I know a lot of times people get really sabotaged by people, like, if you've ever told the truth about something that someone didn't like that truth being exposed, you got sabotaged in some way, you got attacked, like, spiritually. Could have been lost opportunities as a result of it. Well, I feel we are absolutely in that time and era right now of the truth is going to set you free. So the more you want to hold on to deceptions, lies, manipulations, the harder this cycle is going to be. The more you are willing to speak up, speak out, stand 10 toes down on speaking truth, being clear, having integrity, the better off you are going to be. And that is across the board. It is not specific to any one person. It is collectively, this is what is going to go down. So I do feel like somebody is really tapped in, trusting their intuition. I feel like somebody has at the end of this cycle of going through an awakening or in some sort of enlightenment, and now they're at that crossroads of making a choice and a decision. So, wow, another major arcana card, and that is the world card. And this talks about closing out a cycle. And if you could see this energy right here, I've already showed it to you earlier. This is the Joker. This is the energy from the Fool, the Zero, the card Zero, the reset, the new beginning. This is talking about this old cycle that is closing out. Somebody is at a crossroad and they need to make a choice or a decision. I feel like somebody is really going to stand in their power, tap into that inner strength. I feel like that has been something that's been building, evolving, and growing as they've been going through some sort of enlightenment. And I feel like now they're ready to take action and move forward. You see the little dog looking back, right? But you don't see the individual looking back. So I do feel this energy of, maybe for someone you just take a quick look over your shoulder, and I don't even feel that. I mean, I do feel there is this sense of kind of, you know, looking back on experiences. It just gives me the energy of knowing there's nothing back there, right? Nothing back there worth salvaging, nothing back there worth fighting for, nothing back there worth holding on to. And this shows me someone letting this go, closing that cycle, moving forward. I do see the Knight of Wands energy underneath here, and I really strongly feel with this energy. It's giving me that vibe of, the Knight of Wands is one of the quickest moving energies in the deck. So it does talk about, um, it doesn't always come out, quite often, it doesn't come out as a positive energy. It comes out as a very flighty energy, and in and out, off and on, hot and cold, just, it just feels like a whole chaotic burst of energy that comes through the scene, causes confusion or disruption or persuasive in some way, shape, or form that is not beneficial. I feel like whoever I'm talking to, you recognize this, you can see where this energy is coming from, and this is what you're releasing. This is what you're closing the cycle out on. This is what you're letting go of. This is what you're making a choice to move forward and leave in the past, right? So I do feel like somebody is making a choice and a decision at this crossroads of which way they want to go. And we always have that free will in that choice. Again, you want good, bad, light, dark, love or hate, pick a lane, right? You are always free to choose. You are never free from the consequences of your choices. It gives me the vibe with all this major arcana cards that are showing up that somebody has gone through an enlightenment and they're not looking back. They're not tethering themselves to that toxic, low vibrational energy, whether it be within themselves or within connections or with external experiences and situations. Next card is a major arcana card. This is very big deal. And I'm not surprised to see it showing up for Pisces because, like I said, there's two pretty big power planets that are at the end degrees of your sign right now. This is the Magician. This talks about manifestation. When we talk about the World card closing out, right? With every ending comes a new beginning, and somebody is manifesting a new beginning. They're manifesting a new beginning that is solid, that is stable, that has structure, that has discipline, that accountability is the wave of the future, right? And this is what is going to bring in the balance. We have the Page of Wands on the bottom of the deck, and I feel this is news, information, a conversation that's going to be had, or some sort of news that is going to be coming in. I feel like it's a catalyst in the direction to take. So some of you may be really feeling there. I don't know which way to go. I don't know what choice to make. I feel like there is going to be something that just really resonates to your very soul, that aligns you, that allows you to see the way forward. I feel like there's going to be some sort of illumination of some sort onto what path to take, what direction to go, what action to take is giving me. Let's clarify this Eight of Air. Let's clarify this Eight of Air. Let's clarify the Eight of Air. Eight of air is clarified by the Seven of Wands. This is, again, I said in this card, somebody is rising above it. This is rising above the chaos, the confusion, the external daggers that come at you, or the external conflict that tries to come at you. Somebody's not feeding it. Somebody is taking action to do things. They're a loyal energy. It feels like a leader of sorts. Um, they are being the leader of their own life. They are going to take action to let go, to rise above the chaos, the confusion, the drama, the things that are coming at them. Somebody's going to weather this storm. Somebody's like armored up and like this. You're not touching me. You can see that none of these are going to touch this person. They're going to elevate themselves out of that low vibrational energy and move forward in a much better way. Second time, King of Fire sitting right there, it's sitting right here as well. So somebody is stepping into their power. They're having the strength. This card fell right out. I'm leaving it. I'm bringing. Oh, two of them came out. Major Arcana cards. Two major Arcana cards. The High Priestess showed up again, trusting their intuition. Someone has gone through an enlightenment. They're wiser. They've gone internally. They've sought higher wisdom, knowledge, enlightenment of some sort. Um, uh, and now they are ready to, I feel, step in their power and be a true leader. Take action, be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Like, they've grown, evolved, developed, and look, now they're ready to put their time, energy, and effort. They're ready to focus on the work ahead. And the work ahead is to be a guide, a leader, towards righteousness, towards being part of the, like I said, the solution, not part of the problem. Not everybody's going to align with you. And I feel like this energy is no longer going to care. It's like you know, who I've had a lot of conversations. It feels like my phone is ringing off the wall right now. But there has been this energy of, I seen this situation the other day, and it was trying to say something to someone or have a conversation with someone, and this one person was like, "No, that's not the way. This is the way. That's not right," and yada yada yada. And so after that, I see that situation. All I could hear in my head was, Paul Revere had no time to convince people. And if you've been watching me for a while, remember the year, like every reading I did, I was talking about Paul Revere, how he went through and issued warnings and this, that, and the third thing, to try to save as many people as he could. Some people heed the warnings, some people laughed, some people just mocked and picked, right? But he had no time to stand around, sit around, and wait for these people or convince these people of what was what. He had to keep going so he could warn as many people as possible, and therefore saving a lot of people, right? Not the ones who were thinking it was a big joke or that he was the laughing stock of the town or this and that. And so the other day when that whole situation, I heard that whole situation, and I kept hearing that Paul Revere had no time to waste, trying to convince people, right? And you don't either, right? Whoever I'm talking to, you don't either, right? You have to stay focused. You have to stay eyes on the prize, continuing to do the work. The right people are going to align. You're going to catch the right ears, and you will be doing a great service by saving as many as possible. But you can't save everyone. It's just the feeling I'm getting with this. Let's talk about this Ace of Earth. Let's get some clarity on this Ace of Earth. Ace of Earth. Give us some clarity on this Ace of Earth. Ace of Earth is the tower. The old structure, the old paradigm is coming down. Another major arcana card. We are in major world changing energies right now. Everybody in the entire world is going through something in some way, some shape, some form, right? But what is happening universally is the old structure is crumbling. It's being taken down. There's a divine intervention that is going to cast aside the things, the fake leaders, the people who aren't genuine, who aren't doing it for a greater good. They have an agenda behind what they're doing. It's all crumbling. Jupiter, again. And I will reiterate, Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer, which talks about our home, our family, our foundation, right? Within ourselves, we're going through this. On the external, in our world, in our communities, we are all going through this. There are all these different shifts and unexpected changes, radical shifts and changes that are taking place. If you're doing it for a greater good, they will sustain. If you're doing it because you're on a power trip or you're money hungry or greedy or clout hungry, you're not going anywhere. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm saying. Take what resonates, release what doesn't. The final card that shows up, I cannot, you just can't, you really cannot make this stuff up. And that's a strength card. This is for, and I just had this conversation within the last probably 48 hours, probably not even that, where you're going to see the true strength rise up. People with strength and character, strength and integrity, strength and perseverance, strength and faith, right? You're really going to see the rise of the true power. Power is not controlling. Power is like you lead by example. It's just a whole different vibration. So I was going to show you, which I have been, the bottoms of the deck, and look what is popping out over here. We see the Hierophant right now. There's Taurus energy. Uranus, I believe, is in Taurus right now. Uranus right there. You're seeing your Taurus talks about uh, money, resources, things that you value, that sort of thing. All of that energy that is really doing it for the wrong reasons. They're not doing it for the growth of humanity, for the health of humanity, for the safety of humanity. They're doing it for the materialistic or the material gains. Like I said, clout, recognition, all of that stuff. They're being exposed. They're being seen. This is the Sun card. This talks about joy, happiness, fun, success, love, loyalty. This is very beautiful and powerful energy. Underneath that is like, this is what's being illuminated. What is toxic? There is that Capricorn energy. The energies that are like, you know, trying to keep you trapped, bound, stuck in a toxic cycle, in a cycle of what benefits, right? Their material needs, wishes, dreams, and wants. It's coming down. It doesn't matter how much power you think people have. That's a big thing. And I think I've felt that my entire life because I have definitely been one who has spoke truth to power. I have an entire history of, examples of that, right? Where I have spoke truth to power. And I do recognize, because I have been on that receiving end as well, where they would make your life miserable and hard, and they would do anything and everything they could to tear you down. But what they could never do was accomplish that unless you concede, unless you give up, unless you throw the towel in and say, fuck it, I'm not fighting this anymore, right? Sorry about the swear word. Um, but I do feel like there's a lot of people, who have really never done that. Maybe they've had to step back, maybe they've had to take a break, but they've never stopped speaking truth to power. They've not never stopped speaking the truth, no matter how much hardship was placed on those. Those are true leaders. These are the people who can stand up and say no to, and not be people pleasers, do make the tough calls, the tough choices, do the things that, everybody says they can do, but not everybody does. So you're seeing a major shift and change in the paradigm right now. And you are seeing the true leaders severing, rising above, disconnecting from those toxic things. We are all perfectly imperfect. We are all going to, know what we know when we know it, right? Just because you thought something last year, you may not believe that this year, right? Because you've learned new things, you've grown, you've evolved as a person, you're wisdom, your knowledge, your insight has shifted and changed. So you could see things differently. So I'm going to pull some messages from the Vintage Wisdom Oracle deck to close out this message for you, just what you need to know. And two came out. And so the first one was divine timing, which, yes, I've talked about divine timing is a thing. Saturn is part of divine timing. Jupiter is part of divine timing. We've seen both of these showing up in this reading already. This is the time. The time is now to close out these toxic old cycles that keep people trapped, bound, prisoners in whatever this is. It's time to see the beauty, right? It's time to put light into the world, shed light, to bring truth, transparency, and clarity to the world, to the universe, to wherever you are, It's like this is going to be a really big thing. You will see throughout the entire 2026, there are more people rising up to speak truth to clarity. There are more people coming out of their shell, no longer afraid to be seen, right? Like, I have questions, I want answers, I'm worthy, I'm deserving, I'm entitled. A lot of people like to talk about entitlement. That is something you're entitled to. You are entitled to the truth. You are entitled to clarity. You may never get it from some people, but when you can see that, you can recognize that, you can disconnect from that. You can make the choice and decision to better yourself. And if you are one of those energies who has really spent your lifetime manipulating, deceiving, stealing, that sort of thing, it's never too late to change course, right? It's never too late to turn your life around, to do the right things and stand up, speak truth. And the more you do, the more the burdens, the weight, the restrictions will release out of your life. Cannot, I just cannot. Right? The truth is going, there's that eye, there's that eye in the sky that sees all, knows all, and has the power to bring forth consequences, whether they be good or they be bad, depending on what you're out there doing. This is the change. This is a forever change that is taking place and happening. The truth is going to set everyone free. And the more freedom and liberation you have, the more powerful you become. People have given their power away. They've given their power away by letting other people tell them what to think, other people tell them what to say, other people telling them what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. They've tried to beat them down by degrading them, making them feel small. You internally hold the power. You can allow someone, doing that to, you know, put you in a shell, make you feel small, afraid to speak up, or you can take your power back by facing that and speaking the truth over their illusion, over their deception. Kindred spirits. We are absolutely all connecting to our soul tribe. And again, there are kindred spirits and then there are demonic spirits, right? This reading I'm reading for is talking about kindred spirits, lighthearted, people who want good for others, right? This is people who are willing to stand up. They're holding their head up. They're stepping into their power. They're taking their power back. They're no longer playing small. They're no longer shutting up. They're speaking the truth. They're not feeding the delusion, the illusion, none of that shit anymore. Sorry about swearing. I've been really trying not to do that. But anyhow, yeah, I do feel like this is what is happening. This is what's taking place. And I kind of feel this new moon for you, Pisces, this new moon in Capricorn is really going to shift something. You're going to have this aha moment. There is this huge, I feel, releasing yourself of something you've been really stuck on or held up by or something like that. I feel like you're trusting and listening to your higher self, the download you're receiving, that sort of energy. And look, I wanted to end it by this, but I can't. I got to pull one more card. But I do feel like you are no longer hiding in the shadows, playing small. I feel like you are going, see all the butterflies? You have transformed yourself. You're speaking up. You're speaking out. Wow. And hope is being restored. I feel like a little, and you know what's another great thing? And this is how you know when you're a true leader too, as well. One of the other things is you lead by example. And when you stand up and have the strength, courage, and confidence to speak up, to speak out, to voice your opinion, to have you your concerns be heard or listened to, you show others how to do that as well. Like people are inspired by what you're doing, the strength you have. They're encouraged by those sort of things. And again, you're leading them towards the promised land. And wow, I wanted to end on this. And the universe gave it right to me. You are free to express yourself. This really, in this photo, looks like somebody who has really been masked, right? They've had their voice covered. They've been unable to speak up, speak out, speak their truth, say what they feel, and take that pressure off their heart and their soul, and free it to the universe, to allow their self to be liberated. And I feel like the more they do this, the more comfortable they are, the more it strengthens them from within, and the more difference you make by helping to elevate the frequency of the universe into the light, into the higher vibrational frequency. So, to any one of you Pisces who are out there and this reading really resonates with you, please do leave me a comment. And I do want to personally thank you for your hard work. I know it is not something that's easy to do, but some of the best choices and decisions we make in this lifetime are some of the hardest ones, and it's typically because we have to overcome things such as fear, insecurity, knowing that you're going to be ridiculed, picked on, laughed at, this, that, and the other thing, called crazy seems, and I'm air quoting this like this behind the scenes, right? Um, but at the end of the day, you know the truth. You know the reality. You are not crazy because someone tells you you are crazy, right? You are not, don't allow that seed to be planted and grow in your mind, in your spirit, and in your soul. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I do appreciate you. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for being here, and I hope you're having a great day.